Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding.
Mountain.
And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the perfect rep. Now, I'm all about people finding the best possible form to activate the muscle they're trying to hit. And sometimes this means doing a rep through the absolute full range of motion. For some people, I'm actually open to that, as much as some people think that I'm just the partial rep king, right? But the bottom line is that I'm all about whatever stimulates the muscle the most for you and what works. But where being obsessed with the perfect rep can kind of work against you is when you think that the only way to stimulate a muscle is through a full range of motion, meaning you have to do the exercise all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top with that extra squeeze and so forth. So what I'm going to say is that even though doing the perfect rep for your individual body type might be a perfect thing for the most part, it can still hold you back in this way. So just listen to me carefully here. So after you've done whatever set you're doing to the utmost capacity, you've done as many reps as you can using your perfect form, whatever that might be, whether it's full range, whether it's semi-full range, whether it's squeezing all the way at the top of the repetition and so forth. But where this can work against you is that usually what will happen is that once you can't complete the full perfect form, you assume that the muscle is absolutely totally exhausted. And for the most part, you're right. For most of the time, you're right. But there is an extra intensity principle that you can apply once you've done your perfect form reps. You can then go into a partial range where you still have some gas left in that set and then push the muscles into a deeper level of failure. Now, this is something I've done automatically just because I'm just trying to push the muscle into failure as much as I can. So when I'm doing skull crushers, maybe the first few, maybe I'll squeeze out at the top and you'll start to notice that sometimes the last few reps just look ugly, where they're just like at the bottom through the stretch of the motion. And I'm basically only doing a few inches range of motion, but I'm just basically getting that last little bit of extra burn and tension in that tricep to push the tricep into a deeper level of failure. You could do this with dumbbell curls as well, where you're maybe coming up and curling more than usual. And then once you hit fatigue, you might not be able to come all the way up with your bicep curl, but you still can get some bottom curls into it. This is an extra form of intensity, and this can lead you to more results. As much as the perfectionists of the internet might say, oh, you're doing it all wrong, it doesn't really matter because the muscle doesn't care what you're doing right or wrong as much as it cares about whether it is hitting absolute failure and being stimulated, right? So the only caveat I say in all of this is that never do anything so that it injures you, right? Don't be like jumping up and down with like 400 or 500 pounds on your back, you know, and hitting super fatigue or failure and then not being able to stabilize the spine and then injure yourself. Like, don't do that. But when it comes down to certain movements, you may notice that doing your perfect form, if all you do is just perfect form, it might hold you back because there's still a little bit of gas left in the tank to take that muscle into a deeper level of failure. So you could do this with arm curls, you could do this with lateral raises, like with shoulders, you could do this with a lot of different exercises. I mean, even bench presses, you'll see people lock out at the top, but sometimes they can't lock out. Sometimes the locking out part is weak, but they can still continue the set for the last 3 or 4 inches on the bottom of the movement, right? Now, if you're gonna do this with bench press, make sure you have a spotter or you have a squat rack where the pins are set up so that way if the bar falls down on you, it's not gonna hit your chest or your neck. But the point is that you can still take that set into a deeper level of overall muscular failure by altering the form as you go through the set. So you don't have to be an exercise purist, if you will. Being an exercise purist can hinder you and a lot of times when it comes down to intensity, because when people are hitting close to failure, their reps are not perfect, right? Your reps are never going to be perfect when you're in absolute fatigue. The only thing is that you want to make sure that your rep is good enough still to prevent injury, right? And that's why I talk about going to extreme failure when it comes down to lower back type movements, can be more of an issue, because the muscles that are fatiguing are also responsible for stabilizing the spine. And you don't want those muscles to hit absolute failure before your prime movers are, right? Otherwise, you're going to snap something if that happens. So this is really what I'm saying, is that the exercise purists of the internet are actually missing out in a lot of results because of their obsession with having the perfect rep. And yeah, if you apply this here and there in your exercises, you may notice that you get some extra results in areas that were really hard to get results in. Mountain. So yeah, I hope this helps you in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. And if you want to tune into a podcast, I have the Natural Gallant Bodybuilding podcast on Patreon. The link is in the description. It's only $5 a month, and we talk about all sorts of subjects just like this one. Natural Gallant.